How did I get cast in Six the Musical on Broadway? Story time. I'm gonna tell you this story while I get ready for a show. We're about to do some Jane Seymour makeup. Also, you gotta trust this process because I look insane until the very end. Contrary to popular belief, I did not get cast in this show due to my social media following, and they did not find me via social media. I was doing a gig, and at the meet and greet, this lady came up and handed me her card. And she was like, hey, I'm casting for this Broadway show, and I would really love to chat with you. I had no idea that it was Roberta Duchek, the musical director of Six the Musical. I mean, she's worked with people like Hugh Jackman and Anne Hathaway in Les Mis the movie. She's been on Broadway herself. Like, this woman is a legend, okay? So of course, I text her later that day and I was like, oh my gosh, hey, would love to chat. I love this music. I just was listening to the West End cast because, you know, that's the only thing that existed at the time. And I fell in love with the music. But then the pandemic happened, so obviously wasn't put in that cast. Like, we talked a little bit. Roberta walked with me through The Voice in 2020. Like, we kept that relationship going. I went into a final callback in Chicago, and then I went to New York, and then I got cut. And I was like, what? Now keep in mind, I have never done musical theater professionally, okay? So there was so much I needed to learn. So I asked Roberta and the casting director, I was like, hey, what do I need to work on? Like, what would make me better? And they said, work on your acting. I was like, that's fair. I've never acted a day in my life, really. So let's go. So Peter Van Dam from Tara Rubin at the time told me to work with a guy named Benji Shaw. Shout out Benji, you're a boss. I started taking acting lessons online with Benji like once a week, really became even more intentional about my dancing, kept up my voice stuff. And yeah, I really wanted to make sure that I was honing in on my craft. So regardless of whether I was meant to be in Six or not, I knew I was going to be an actress and a dancer and a singer. Six reached out to me again the following year and was like, hey, we would love to bring you back in, but we'd love to see you for Par, the one that survived. And I was like, all right. So I flew to New York to audition again. I actually brought my mom on that trip with me. I was like, hey, you wanna come to New York? That'd be fun. And that time I actually made it to final callbacks to where they sent my stuff to the UK to see if I would work for casting. Plot twist, I didn't get cast again. And I'm not gonna lie, I was really sad. But again, for whatever reason, the timing was just not right, and that is okay. And even though I didn't get cast, I kept working on my acting, on my dancing, and what most people don't see is, you know, me bartending until 4 o'clock in the morning in downtown Nashville, and then spending all of the money that I make, not only for living, but to pay for music and producers and music videos and lessons. Like, it's called a grind for a reason. You're freaking exhausted, but you put in the hard work before your number is called, so that way whenever your number is called, you're ready. So I kept working on myself, on my career as an artist, on my craft, like just doing anything I could, always just to get better. I started writing more, releasing more music, doing gigs, all of the things, and then Six called again. And they were like, hey, we want to bring you in for a boot camp and just for Seymour. I was like, okay, cool. I had no idea what that meant, but I found out that meant they brought me to New York. We did a 1-week intensive with, I don't know, probably like 20 other girls. We learned like the choreography for a lot of the numbers, like one-on-ones for the solos, for the monologue. So this is in 2023. I did not expect anything to happen from it. Truly, I just took it for, wow, I'm getting this amazing education from the top people in this industry that I'm still not in. Like, how amazing, take it for what it's worth. I made some really great friends that I still talk to this day. I didn't hear anything. I didn't know if I was supposed to or whatever, but anyway, 2023 is when I started taking social media seriously. And in August of 2023, I was like, all right, we're gonna start posting every single day. And that is when everything popped off. I started gaining crazy traction on TikTok and Instagram. Lots of new music opportunities started coming my way, which I was insanely grateful for. Was still bartending, still doing all of the gigs. Like, I just had started to get a lot busier because social media then became a full-time job, which I'm so grateful for. By this time, we're well into 2024. I still have not heard anything. It's been over a year since I've heard from Six, but obviously I've kept a relationship with Roberta, with Peter, because they're all just amazing people. And within a year of starting to post every single day on social media, because of y'all, hit 1 million followers in less than a year, got up to 1.7 million on TikTok. We're now over 1 million on Instagram. Again, because of y'all, oh my gosh, and your insanely amazing support. Like, I'll forever be grateful. So heck, by this point, I'm like, oh, Broadway's definitely not gonna be a thing. Like, you know, I was so blessed to be a part of just some of the process. Well, found out I was going on tour with Trans-Siberian Orchestra for November and December of last year. And Brandon and I were like, you know, let's just put down some roots in Nashville. You know, we love it. I was just like, I decided I was quitting the bar. I was just gonna focus on social media and like really dive everything into my music. 3 days later, I get a call that I've been offered to be Jane Seymour on Broadway in New York City. I was like, I'm sorry, what? And my world just went kaboosh. It was truly in a state of shock. Brandon was in a state of shock. We had made this plan and then God said, haha, LOL, no, different plan that I have for you. I just cried. It was a dream I never thought was gonna get to be mine, and boy, was I wrong. So I got off of tour, was home for 5 days, and then moved to New York City. And so now me and Brandon are both here in New York, living the coolest dream I never thought possible. So I share this story for a couple of reasons. Number one, because the timeline is just insane and it brings like a reality to how long these things take. It's not like I was like, ooh, she has over 1 million followers. She went to Broadway. How cool, social media did that for her. Nah, not how it happened. Number two, to tell people to never give up on your dreams. It is possible. It takes a lot of work, but it's worth it. And number three, a lesson that I don't love, but comes in handy some days. God's timing is perfect, and when you're meant to be where you're meant to be, you're gonna be there. So now I'm gonna go into wig prep, get into all the coolness. Thank y'all so much for all of your support. You're a part of the reason that I am here, because you keep cheering me on and telling me that I can do it. So I'm forever grateful, and I love you guys. Okay, bye.